Last November, on a cool and clear night, a couple dozen people crowded into the St. Helens Senior Center for a last-minute meeting. The news about the sexual abuse scandal at the local high school that we told you about in episode 5 was coming to light. Kids had walked out in protest. People had talked for generations about the culture of abuse at the school. And finally, people had enough. At the front of the room, Jennifer Massey stepped up to the microphone.
I understand and we understand there are so many strong emotions and high intensity surrounding why we're here today, the reasons that have brought
Jennifer put together this meeting with her friends from her group, Fuck Around, Find Out, Doing Detective Shit, or FAFODs. They were the same people who ran the Justice for Sarah Zuber page. Sarah's death and the St. Helens High School abuse scandal weren't related, but the scandal does show how a culture of secrecy has become normal in Columbia County. And now Jennifer Massey had put herself at the center of both situations. Jennifer wanted to offer a forum for people to vent their frustrations and fears. She invited some people to speak, including one person who got a huge round of applause.
Thank you. Again, my name is Doug. I guess everyone knows that now.
The TikTok influencer, Doug Weaver. He'd flown back home to Columbia County from Missouri, and people were treating him like a celebrity.
I've never seen any community so unified and focused on making sure that what happened in the past and what is happening now is not going to happen again.
But not all of the speakers Jennifer introduced that night were so well received, and audience members were quick to shout their criticisms.
I'm just here to tell you.
I'm trying real hard to stay calm.
I'm not here to make any judgments. I'm trying to tell you what boards do, to give you some background.
Don't applaud them.
I'm not applauding anything.
Yes, you did.
No,
You just said they did a great job.
Jennifer jumped in to mediate.
You guys will keep
No.
the comments until the end.
All right.
Keep the comments until the end, please.
Overnight, Jennifer had gone from one of those people who shouts from the audience during a town meeting to someone trying to keep things calm. She was in a position of power. Just days before this town hall, Jennifer had won the election to become St. Helens mayor. She'd run on a platform of transparency and put the Sarah Zuber case at the center of her campaign. She wasn't even sworn in yet by the time of the town hall. And one by one, as parents stepped to the microphone to share their stories, it became clear that Jennifer wanted to offer her help, but it wasn't always received the way she thought it would be.
I'm angry because this didn't have to happen to my kid. This didn't have to happen to, decades of children. And that to me is saying to the community and to the kids that they can tell us what to do and we're still not going to do it. That's all. I just want my kid to be the last.
Don't have the answers. I don't, but I promise you.
She'd gone from the leader of Columbia County's Greek chorus to the target of that Greek chorus. Back when she founded FAFODs, she put the doing detective shit, part of that name, front and center. But now, as mayor, the finding out part seemed to be creeping in on her. She was the focus of a community who had a lot of questions about what exactly Jennifer meant when she talked about transparency. From Oregon Public Broadcasting, this is Hush. I'm Leah Satilli. This is episode 7, Cornered. On the morning of January 2nd, 2025, Jennifer Massey wore a black pantsuit and her blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun. She was standing alone in city council chambers in downtown St. Helens.
Hey, big day for you.
Yeah, I'm just super excited about this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I brought, so Rebecca and Randy at the election party, Rebecca brought this picture down because I'm going to ask for it to be on the diocese when it's at the council meetings. So she's here today. So
In her hands, she held a photograph of Sarah Zuber in a wooden frame. In the picture, she's smiling in her red cap and gown.
good to get.
Slowly, the room filled in. There was Jennifer's husband, Terry Massey, fresh off an all-night shift with the St. Helens police. Several other police officers filed in. There were the folks from FAFODS, too. And Randy and Rebecca Zuber. Randy wore a sport coat with his usual logging supply company hat. Rebecca wore a long polka dot dress.
We're going to call this special session to order. The day is Thursday, January 2nd, and the time is 9:30 a.m. We're going to start off introducing, we have Judge Clark here. Do you want to just go ahead and begin? I think it looks like we have Mayor-elect Jennifer Massey first.
Hey, good morning, folks. I'm Judge Clark. They asked me to step in and swear some folks in, so I'm happy to do that. All right, if I can have you raise your right hand. Okay. I, Jennifer Massey,
I, Jennifer Massey,
will honestly and faithfully
will honestly and faithfully
perform the duties of mayor
perform the duties of mayor
to the best of my ability and understanding
to the best of my ability and understanding
during my term of office.
during my term of office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. And then I'll have you sign right here.
All right.
Jennifer walked up to her seat in the middle of the council, and for a few seconds, she held the photo of Sarah Zuber up in front of her so everyone could see. In the audience, Randy Zuber started to cry. After the meeting was over, she posed for photos with the Zubers. Rebecca smiled. Randy looked pained.
How's it feel seeing this happen today?
Amazing, actually. You say any help we can get, and things seem to, the wheels of all of this just move so slow. But now maybe Mrs. Massey says she has this in the back of her mind that maybe when things come up where there's an opportunity to bring this up or move something forward, we might be able to help. We're just anything.
I think we're going to see big things with her.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, anything that
she
we can do.
is so highly intelligent and so motivated, and I am
things
just,
done.
yeah,
Knows how to get
this
things
is
done.
the beginning. This is just the beginning. I know it, yeah.
The Zubers told us they felt like Jennifer's election signaled a new day in Columbia County, that something was bound to change in Sarah's case. But what exactly? They weren't sure. Maybe it was just that the old guard was changing. The Zubers felt like Jennifer had done more for them than the sheriff or the detectives or the district attorney had. She had forced all those people to look at what happened to Sarah again, to not let her be forgotten. And now she was mayor of the county's biggest city. That day when Jennifer was sworn in, the longtime mayor of St. Helens, Rick Scholl, was out. But Rick Scholl isn't a quiet man, and he was about to get very, very loud about Jennifer Massey.
And from an unknown studio in an unknown town in a radio station with no listeners, it's Brady and Tammy on Odd Friday this morning. Hi, guys. What's going on?
We got a big show today.
We do. Big show.
One morning last winter, after Jennifer became mayor, we arrived at the nondescript studio of KOHI-AM to listen in on that week's episode of Odd Friday. It's a bland-looking building. Looks like it could be a dentist's office. The hosts of the show, Tammy Magra and Brady Preheim, are two of the most vocal members of the Columbia County Greek Chorus on just about every issue imaginable. We were there because that week's Odd Friday guest was Rick Scholl, the longtime mayor of St. Helens. He'd lost the election to Jennifer Massey, though not by a lot. Scholl was there to talk about a recent bombshell that dropped in Columbia County.
108 pages.
108-page report on the police.
The report Scholl had in his hands was about law enforcement in Columbia County, and he started reading sections of it on the air. Remember, Sheriff Brian Pixley told us that law enforcement agencies in the county are all so small and underfunded, they kind of depend on collaboration to get anything done. We saw that in the initial investigation into Sarah Zuber's death, how officers from the sheriff's office, Rainier, Scappoose, and St. Helens came to help. Let me sum up this report quickly. It's a heavily redacted 108-page document that had to do with the chief of the St. Helens Police Department, a man named Brian Greenway. Greenway had just resigned as chief of police in January. The city hired an outside investigator to look into Greenway after officers complained about him. And the report generated by that investigator was wild. It detailed many, many things. Greenway berating his officers, faking their physical fitness test results, and sending porn to employees. But he also did something that caught our attention, something that made us wonder if Greenway's behavior affected the Zuber investigation. In the report, the investigator wrote that Greenway prevented his officers from helping the Columbia County Sheriff's Office because he didn't like Sheriff Brian Pixley.
It also seems that Greenway is willing to do this at the cost of public safety. That right there upsets me the most.
There's more. Greenway also seemed to be taking advantage of the idea that 24-hour police service would be ending in St. Helens. That story ran on the front page of the very last Chronicle-in-Chief before it went out of business. And the issue came up in the final weeks of the mayor's race. But this report was saying that was never certain. 24-hour police service wasn't on the chopping block. But people thought it was, and it made Rick Scholl look terrible. Live on the air, Scholl reacted to the report.
And that's why I asked for an unredacted report. And I still don't see why it's not unredacted.
It should be.
A ton of St. Helens police officers were interviewed for the Greenway report. All of their names were redacted, so no one knew for sure who had been interviewed. But Columbia County is small, and it was pretty obvious reading it that even without names, some of the people seemed very familiar. Like the one St. Helens officer who said he owned several car care centers. And there was discussion about his wife, who posted on social media a lot. Rick Scholl said this was almost certainly Terry and Jennifer Massey. Police officers interviewed for the report said these two people, probably the Masseys, seemingly colluded with Chief Greenway to make Scholl and Sheriff Pixley look bad. Terry Massey had run against Sheriff Pixley in 2022, and now Jennifer Massey was mayor, the person who ran on a platform of transparency, who told us the first time we met that if something is redacted, it means someone is hiding something. Now her name seemed like it was blacked out in a city report.
You know, the bottom line is this, is she tells people that what I've watched online is to not believe their eyes, what they read.
Yes.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I had no part in this. I knew nothing about this.
Right. Which is a complete lie.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
We have tried all kinds of things to get an unredacted version of this report. Filed public records requests, asked Jennifer to just give it to us, appealed to the district attorney. So far, the city that Jennifer now runs has been able to keep parts of it secret. The Greek chorus, which Scholl was now a part of, was fine with filling in the blanks.
Right. So when you're reading this, just remember, there's a lot more to these people that are behind here but you don't know who they are because it's unredacted.
Right, it's redacted.
Yeah, I mean redacted, yes. Yeah. Because the council decided that was the way to go, which I'm still I
think it should be on.
As the interview went on, the conversation turned back to the Sarah Zuber case.
Look at, the Sarah Zuber case, which I feel for that family and everything that happened, but I don't know how the hell that even reflects being the mayor of St. Helens.
Well, in the same way with the school.
Yet she announced her mayoral candidacy first on that site.
Yeah, wasn't that was pretty
And then you
crass.
said,
They saw it as crass and cynical that Jennifer announced her run for mayor on the Justice for Sarah Zuber page.
my heart goes out to the Zuber family. This is not.
mine
Don't take this as
Right.
I'm coming after you.
No.
There's
no.
just too
It's
much.
just her involvement.
There's just too much there.
You know, the fascinating thing.
But if you happen to listen to this, don't believe your ears.
No.
Because she'll tell you otherwise.
After the show was over, Rick Scholl sat down in the break room with us for an interview. On the table, there were boxes of donuts. I asked Scholl why he ran for re-election when being mayor seemed to frustrate him so much.
Yeah.
We were watching some meetings, when you were still mayor, and it looked like, sometimes you got pretty hot up there on the dais.
I'm a human being.
Well, and I was curious, what was behind that? Was there a moment when the job became, since we've been here today, we've been talking about scandal after scandal after drama after drama. Was there a moment where things just turned for you and became less about the rewarding part and more about the public pressure?
Yes. It definitely. Well, I think it's just knowing and suspecting that there's a bunch of people that are undermining you, right? And you suspect it, and
He was referring to Jennifer and her friends. Scholl said when they started showing up at meetings, he knew something was up.
So that right there rubbed me the wrong way. And how dare these people? What is their motive? Well, at that time, it didn't even make sense. What is your motive?
Does it make more sense to you now?
It makes a lot of sense now.
Why?
Because we're wanting power. Why would one family want to be a sheriff and then switch to being a mayor?
The 108-page Greenway report answered his question. One supervisor said Chief Greenway, quote, hated Pixley with a burning passion, end quote, and hand-tapped Terry Massey to run for sheriff. Even crazier, that supervisor said Greenway specifically wanted Terry to have Jennifer send anonymous emails to the city council that would make Scholl look bad. He said asking her to do such a thing would be, quote, disgustingly unethical. One officer said Greenway pulled St. Helens out of helping on any major crimes because he hated Pixley. Greenway allegedly said he wasn't going to send any officers out to help people who didn't pay city taxes. And if that's true, that would have included the Zubers. We could see in the investigative files that in the first days after Sarah died, a St. Helens officer did interview Rebecca Zuber, but then was off the case. This drama was all going on as Sarah Zuber's death was being investigated. Jennifer's main beef with the investigation into Sarah's death was that she thought the sheriff's office, led by Pixley, could have done a better job. But this report made it look like Jennifer was in cahoots with the chief, who might have been fine with actively inhibiting investigations like Sarah's. Greenway was looped in with the major crimes team when Sarah died. What might have happened in the investigation if St. Helens PD, the most well-resourced department in the county, had been helping the sheriff's office since day one? We might never know the extent that Greenway hampered policing in the county. He quit as chief while we were working on this series and didn't respond to requests for comment. But Rick Scholl said he thinks Greenway had a big influence. He said, as mayor, he should have been the first person to hear St. Helens might not have 24/7 police service. Instead, he heard about it on Facebook from Jennifer Massey.
So she announced it on this transparency page, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the heck is this?
So what does it say? It says St. Helens will no longer have 24/7.
Yeah, get ready, St. Helens citizens, no 24-hour service coming soon.
And you, as the mayor of St. Helens, did not know that.
Did not know, the entire council didn't know. I was very upset.
This investigative report made the 24/7 policing scandal look like that was all a stunt on Greenway's part to get Scholl out of office. And Scholl believes Jennifer was involved.
I'm not going to go out of my way to try to cook up this huge narrative, but I know it doesn't read right, it doesn't sound right, it's not right. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. She ain't right, I'm telling you.
When we sat down with Sheriff Brian Pixley, we talked to him about the Greenway report.
So there was essentially a conflict arose between the chief of police for St. Helens at the time and myself. They launched a policy that says they were no longer going to assist outside agencies. And that spurred the conflict. And Chief Greenway has since left.
But that policy affected during this case.
I believe it was like 2020 when the policy was enacted.
And this is like unprecedented, right? Because what you're telling me is that like the only way everybody survives out here is by helping each other.
Correct.
And so
Correct.
Greenway just said, we're not helping anymore.
Yeah, we're out.
Why?
I don't know. So after he launched the policy, I tried to get a hold of him, but I couldn't. So I actually went to the then mayor, who was Mayor Rick Scholl, and I said, look, Rick, I don't expect you to change anything, but I can't get a hold of Brian Greenway, and this policy will kill someone or will get someone hurt, and we need to figure out how to move past this. And Greenway saw that as me kind of going, quote unquote, going over his head, and we didn't talk literally from then until probably mid last year.
So do you think that bad blood at all led to confusion in this investigation or maybe a subpar investigation in
No,
any way?
Absolutely not.
An officer from St. Helens PD did help the day Sarah died, but then was off the case. And Pixley claims the Greenway thing didn't get in the way of the investigation. Most officers we have spoken to said they didn't believe the dysfunction among the two largest police agencies in the county affected what happened. But given the findings of the 108-page report, it was hard to believe. When we first met Jennifer, she seemed like someone who wanted to use the tools of a true crime investigation to help the Zubers. She drummed up pressure on the police and gave leads that her group found to the detectives. She became mayor by taking on what she called the Good Old Boys Club. But maybe in this game of power in Columbia County, Jennifer had been holding more of the cards than we realized this entire time. Parsing what was real and what wasn't in the Sarah Zuber case was really difficult. And parsing what was real and what wasn't about Jennifer was also difficult. Her keyboard warrioring on Facebook was how I first heard about the Zuber case. She'd been forthcoming with us in our interviews, eager and ready to answer just about any question we had. She sent us thousands of records she found, and she seemed to feel very deeply for the Zubers. There was little doubt she was trying to help. But she'd also come up with this theory around a hit and run. She was suspicious of Nick, that he'd been driving drunk down Sarah's road that night and hit her. But that theory didn't seem to hold up. And now there was this Greenway report, which seemed to suggest that Jennifer was cozy enough with the former police chief that some people considered her part of the Good Old Boys Club of Columbia County. We had arranged to sit down with Terry and Jennifer Massey in the afternoon after we visited the radio station. We wanted to ask Jennifer, specifically, what she had to say in response to the claims that she'd used the Zubers for her own political benefit. And we wanted to ask Terry if Greenway had explicitly asked him to run for sheriff against Brian Pixley. Jennifer sent us an address for our meeting. It was a marina on the Columbia River, and when she arrived, we followed her down a long wooden dock toward a pod of floating homes. She said she and Terry own 3 of them.
Here. Oh, our flag, the windstorm.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so this is one, and then we have another one down there.
Amazing.
But we did the deck and all this stuff. It's kind of fun. But we have parties down here.
I can imagine.
Seems
that
like
was
a good
choice
parties
spot.
had.
Theme parties?
The houseboat was decorated up with American flag-themed decor. There were metal cutouts of AR-15s hanging on the walls. Jennifer showed us the kegerator, the full bar, the view looking out over the river where kayakers paddled by.
We're awesome.
After my election, we had 100 or more people in here. And it was listing to that side.
Oh,
She pointed to the big door off in the corner.
That's the gun safe that almost took out the dog.
wow, that thing is big.
Yeah.
How many guns can you fit in that?
Like 80. I think we have 6 of them. We're collectors also.
Did you say
80. They only have 6. You got a long line of room to fill.
Yeah.
No, we have 6 of those safes
Gotcha.
that are completely full.
Got you. Investment.
Yeah,
I'm not doing the math. I'm not a math person, but what's
6
the math?
times 8, 200. No, that's like 400.
It's not even close to what we have, but we actually collect them. We collect them like older, like Tommy guns or like something that I like, and just like history, like you know.
When Terry arrived, we all settled down on a couch.
Did Greenway directly tap you for the job to run against Pixley?
No.
Okay.
No, it was officers. No.
Okay.
Greenway had no idea till I asked. I didn't want to just put my name in the hat without talking to him as the chief of police. So I talked to him and I talked to Hogue. I talked to all those guys. I talked to my sergeants. I talked to the whole management team before I ran.
It seemed like he had problems with Pixley. Like he didn't.
They had issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get along with him?
With Greenway?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't work with him on a day-to-day basis, but I didn't have any major problems with the guy.
Yeah.
Terry said he decided to run for sheriff because other officers asked him to, that it had nothing to do with Greenway.
I mean, do you think either of you received any political benefit from making it a prominent issue?
I think I could have. We specifically didn't involve the Zuber case in my campaign. And Randy and Rebecca, they both said, we don't want a campaign on our daughter's name. And so we specifically said, I didn't do anything with that during my campaign.
Yeah.
So, and I think honestly, I could have really drove that home and used it to my advantage, but I as well. I didn't want people to vote for me because of a case. I wanted people to vote for me because the overall direction of county and law enforcement at the time.
Terry Massey did not mention Sarah as a part of his political campaign. That is true. He said that would have been against the Zuber's wishes, even if it could have helped him. Jennifer had a different answer.
My answer is yes. I think it helped me politically. I do. I think that I had already, we had 2,400 people-ish on Sarah's page. I think my name got out there and they already knew me from the work that I was doing on Sarah's case. So I think I became more known because I wasn't really I didn't have social media and dealing with his campaign, but I think that I made my own way on that. And as I sit today, I'm extremely proud of it. And I talk about it again because I think that other people should step up when things are uncomfortable and hard to talk about and defend other people in our community.
Jennifer isn't shy about the ways she believes she helped the Zubers, even if her critics in the Greek chorus now blast her for it.
But why put the Zuber case at the center of the campaign when it, didn't actually have to do with the St. Helens mayor position?
It came up the fact that I think for me, it was demonstrating my commitment and my follow through, even though that I was up against challenges, I was being attacked, I was having to deal with a sheriff and a DA, and that I can look at community needs and I can be selfless and put them first. So I'm extremely proud of the work that I've done with Sarah's case. We're not done, but I think that that's a testament to my civic engagement and my dedication on follow through.
So you ran on a platform of transparency. We've talked to you about that. So why vote to redact your own name from the Greenway report?
So if you go back and if you find that I am saying this in error, please correct me. I said the officers' names. If you go back to that council meeting when we decided that, and I'm talking to Council President Chilton, I said this was, the lawyers were talking about redacting the officer's name. Didn't give a shit about my name. I don't care about my name. In fact, I would have preferred mine, but that was not part of any redaction that I thought was going to be there. I thought it was strictly going to be for just the officers.
Jennifer was saying she didn't vote to redact her name from the report. But in the end, it's still blanked out, just out of the public's view.
Why did the lawyers want to redact? I mean, these are all public employees. Why are we hiding their names?
So I think that there was a part of it on just trying to protect them as much as possible, the people that were stepping out there.
We asked Jennifer about how well she knew Chief Greenway, and she told us she could only recall texting him once about 24-hour coverage and whether it was going away. And as for the allegation that she was sending anonymous emails on his behalf, she said that was ridiculous. And her nonprofit had even hired someone to try to trace the sender, but came up with nothing.
I have to say, in the time that we've known you, your role here has really changed. You've gone from being, like you say, this person who's like blunt and factual and puts things up front and confronts people. And now, you're in the position where you have to think about the reputation of your officers and their employment and things like
So I think, this kind of goes into the, God, I love this conversation. It goes into that clarifying confusion memo so we can get the facts out there. This, I think, was for me, an awkward situation because I didn't request this investigation. The whole time that this investigation was going on, the mayor made it very clear that this was supposed to be some Massey collusion with the chief of police for 24-hour coverage. And so I really felt like coming into it and not knowing what was going on, also learning what was in that report, I felt really uncomfortable with the whole thing. And I really wanted to try to minimize really I felt like that happened way before me. And I just felt like I didn't want to say anything because I felt like it should take its course. Because I didn't want to interject really much of anything into it because I felt like that would be worse on what the accusations were. I didn't want to steer it. I didn't ask about the investigation.
Jennifer Massey's role in Sarah Zuber's case is complicated, to put it mildly. It's undeniable she created the pressure that has kept her name on people's lips in Columbia County. She's the reason you're listening to this podcast. But she's also very invested in a hit-and-run theory that isn't supported by Sarah's physical injuries.
So that body cam footage, and then the audio from the grandmother that was in there.
Yeah.
And so that put us on the rabbit trail of him looking at baby mama, looking at him, where he's at, where he was living. Plus he also had, I believe, a couple hit and runs.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, how close do you think you are here to?
Well, I don't think I'm very close. I'm hoping that the detectives dealing with it are. I feel like we've got to be. I feel like we're closer than we ever have been. Yeah.
Still, she doesn't deny all this pressure on the local police politically benefited her. At the same time, after she became mayor, she donated thousands of dollars to a scholarship fund the Zubers set up in Sarah's name. How much the politics of it all matters depends on who you talk to. It seemed to us that the people whose opinions should matter the most are the Zubers.
Do you think the Zubers are ever going to have an answer for what happened to Sarah?
I think that the Zubers are going to, at some point, have a better understanding of what happened, whether it is found out that she was, unfortunately, something like a hit and run, or that somebody can discuss with them and provide them logical and rational explanations from a most scientific and medical expectation as possible of how this possibly could have happened, if it's not it. Somebody that can actually explain how she could die of ethanol and hypothermia in the current conditions. Nobody has ever afforded them the opportunity. And as a mother, I can't imagine sitting there saying these puzzle pieces don't fit and this doesn't make sense and I'm just supposed to accept it, but nobody will give me the time of day to tell me how you would render that opinion.
I mean, I'll say, like, Leah and I have agonized a lot about, we've gone down a lot of avenues on this trying to find answers, and it's very hard. And I feel like you've done the same thing. And how does it make you feel if you can't provide those answers?
It still makes me motivated. And I really honestly believe that I have Sarah's presence with me a lot. Like, I just got in a pretty severe car accident where my car was totaled on Gable Road, and I was banged up, but and I walked out of it. And I just feel like a lot of times when things get very contentious, I just feel like I have this blanket. I don't know this girl. I have her picture up on the diocese to remind me to make good decisions. And I would hope that if there was ever a time that there's an unfortunate situation, that I felt like I no longer had strength to fight because I'd been so weakened and despaired, that there would be somebody to come alongside me and say, I got you, and we're going to continue going to see if we can make you whole, or as whole as possible. So,
but I think that's what is difficult for me personally, is Randy and Rebecca are extremely understanding and kind people, and you want to help them. And yeah, I mean, maybe I don't have as much faith as you that we're going to.
It's the thing we've wondered is, like, what is. It's so clear to me that everyone we've looked at in this case believes that they were helping in some way. You know, even Oxier is like, we got to get these people an answer. And, you know, the county sheriff's office thinks that they're doing a good job. And, you know, every single person who waved a sign and, you know, was showing the Zubers, like, we want to help you. And it's, you know, on one regard, it's so heartwarming to know that there's a community that, like, truly cares for this family. And yet I'm not sure the needle has moved. And I wonder, so what then does justice look like for Sarah?
That's a heavy question. I do feel like the needle has moved. I do. I feel like that it has moved because I think it brings more awareness. And I think that we've had other incidents that have happened within the county that I think were handled differently. There was another hit.
So, in summary, Jennifer Massey says Sarah's case scored her political points on her way to becoming mayor, but that her motivations and tactics were basically above board. She says she didn't send anonymous emails to the city council about losing 24/7 policing. And her husband Terry says that he wasn't handpicked by Greenway to challenge Brian Pixley and run for sheriff. But then, months after this conversation with Jennifer, the city of St. Helens finally agreed to send us a partially unredacted version of the Greenway report showing Terry and Jennifer Massey's names. And it contradicted a lot of what Jennifer told us. The report said Greenway did tap Terry to run for sheriff. It said Jennifer had reached out to Greenway, warning him that officers in the union were becoming concerned with his behavior. And officers in the report said Jennifer might have been the person sending anonymous emails on Greenway's behalf. We also learned there was an entire supplemental report all about Jennifer and what role she might have played in this drama, but the city denied all of our requests to see it. The Oregon Department of Justice took a preliminary look at Jennifer's connection to Greenway after one of her political rivals filed a complaint. Attorneys for Oregon decided there was circumstantial evidence Jennifer and Greenway had talked about the 24/7 policing issue, but ultimately, there likely wasn't a crime. So, who do you believe? The Masseys say the report can't be trusted. Scholl, all these officers who spoke candidly about Greenway, they tell a story where the Masseys are pulling more strings in Columbia County than they claim. But when it comes to the Zubers, Jennifer promised Randy and Rebecca that she cared. She was donating her stipend as mayor, about $1,500 a month, to a scholarship fund in Sarah's name. She had promised the Zubers that, come hell or high water, she'd get everyone in this county to care. And she thinks she made good on that promise. After we talked to Jennifer, we sat down with Randy and Rebecca Zuber again, and we asked them about criticisms we had heard about Jennifer. The Zubers aren't on Facebook, so they don't see the local chatter about her. But even so, they were pretty clear with their opinion.
Justice for Sarah is having a full and thorough investigation. That's their job, okay? And so then Jennifer Massey, that's what she did, I think, is that she brought to light the idea that these victims deserve a full and thorough investigation. That's whoever, the investigator's job to do that. And so I think that's what she did, was she brought that to light, And so I don't have a problem if she benefited. I'm pretty sure that she never thought of running for mayor until all of this happened with Sarah. I mean, I understand people would be like, oh, she did it just for that. She doesn't care about you, but I don't believe that.
We don't give a crap about politics. We don't care, because that is so freaking wrong and that's so rude.
The Zubers are happy with what Jennifer Massey has done for them, no matter what anyone says. She made people pay attention. She made us pay attention. And maybe that's the job of the Greek chorus, to be the beating heart of a place and keep the story focused on what the community thinks is important. At the same time, Jennifer said she wanted to get facts, but no matter how much attention she drummed up about Sarah Zuber, it seems no one is any closer to knowing what really happened. Jennifer became powerful within her community by telling a story that Columbia County is a place filled with corruption and that she was the person to fix it. And she kept telling us that she believed Nick, the guy in prison for beating his kid with a record of driving drunk, hit Sarah with his car and drove away. So many decades of true crime has pulled a kind of trick on all of us. It's convinced us that a messy truth isn't enough. We want to know who did it, how, and why. Everything else just feels like a distraction. That's why Truman Capote tucked away inconvenient details and made up quotes when he wrote In Cold Blood. He was papering over the parts of the case that didn't serve his story. Maybe the main thing true crime prioritizes over the truth is an ending. One day, we pulled over in a parking lot in Columbia County. We were frustrated because if we couldn't solve what happened to Sarah, what were we really doing here?
I think us peeling back how unreliable this information is naturally raises the question of, like, about Jennifer, right? It's like, Jennifer is hot to trot on this guy. We've, like, done the legwork on this hit and run theory, and it's thinner than ever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, who is she then? Why is she, like, so insistent that this is the case?
Do you have any worries that there is a effort on her part to serve up a very undesirable person? Beats up kids, beats up toddlers, drunk drives like crazy, is a terrible driver, a dangerous person by all means. Do you have any fears that Jennifer's let me just serve up this person that is a danger in our community?
Maybe, but she's not presumably forcing informants to say his name, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think she's just like, sees a convenient person and is like, bam, we did it, everybody, mission accomplished, George Bush banner. As opposed to, like, us being like, show me the proof. This is like, there is no circling. It's like, you either have it or you don't have it. And we don't have it.
So actually, true crime is...
The truth about solving crimes is you either have factual information or you do not have factual information.
And the rest is all just storytelling.
Right.
Woof. I mean, yeah, I think to what you were saying before, like, I am afraid you and I have bought into this because we know how great a good true crime show can be. You solve a case, a family is given a solution, and justice is served. That feels good, but like, that's not the majority.
Yeah.
Of crimes.
No.
The majority of life is like small town police departments with a like retired guy knocking on doors on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So unsatisfying. What can the ending be, though? It doesn't have to. Okay, so we can't solve the case. So what's the ending that works? One thing we've come down on is that the job of a journalist is sense-making. It's organizing facts in a way so people can understand them. It isn't theorizing or speculating. It's keeping a sharp eye on the truth. And the truth is never clean. In fact, I think it's the antithesis of truth to think that it can be clean, that there's always one person at fault, or one group of people, or one perpetrator. I think people who tell you those kinds of stories are often opponents of truth. It isn't our job to tie this up in a bow. Our job is to show the world as it is, and the world is complex and messy. And here's one thing we can tell you with real certainty. Columbia County, for a place of its size, is a messy, complex place. The sex abuse case at the high school, the mayor's race, the Greenway report, the lack of journalism that isn't Facebook. None of these things directly impacted Sarah Zuber, and yet these are the forces that have shaped the people who are supposed to be getting to the bottom of what happened to her. It's the undercurrent, the gravitational pull that makes this story seem like a true crime mystery. Next time, on the final episode of Hush, we look at what's left when the mystery is demystified.
You don't know me, Mr. Pixley, but I know you a little bit because I see your writings and your bullshit and how you put me off and you lie about us. You don't know the first thing about us.
That's next time. Hush is reported, written, and produced by me, Leah Satilli, and Ryan Haas. Music by Joe Preston. Our editors were Sage Van Wing and Anna Griffin. Stephen Cray mixed this episode, and Nalene Silva was our audio engineer. Our show art is by Dana Ryerson. Photography by Christina Wentz-Graff. Additional art and marketing guidance from Van Cooley and Jennifer McCormick. Tony Schick fact-checked this episode. Legal review was by Rebecca Morris. We had public records assistance from John Bile. Website production for this series by Sukhjot Saul. Thanks to Joni Audenland, Peter Frickwright, Jen Chavez, and Tony Schick for helping shape this series. Thanks to all the members who make podcasts at OPB possible. Visit the Hush homepage on OPB's website at opb.org/hush. You can also email us with tips for future reporting at hush@opb.org. And if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Or just tell a friend. It helps the show grow and is a great way to support our work.